Hi, this is James Olsen-Mills. It's Activity 3, Effectiveness of Unit Planning. I've selected several videos that seem to represent some aspects of both planning and classroom management, and focusing mostly on in the language arts area. Going through the videos, Mr. Hester, there's several examples on the internet of him. He's really strong on classroom management. There's one on warm and cold feedback, students giving each other feedback, how to both give feedback and receive it. The third one is about a teacher using video to help students with their presentation skills. And the fourth one is about academic discussions, and that's in an ELL group. The Writers Boot Camp was a younger grade, I think it was 5th grade, but that was a very good example of a teacher sort of modeling thinking skills as it relates to writing, and I thought there were a couple good examples in there. A 6th one is a high school class writing about the Hunger Games. There's some creative stuff in there, and the teacher was very dynamic with the students interacting with the groups and with individuals as well. The 7th example is just a small snippet of a teacher, basically an inspirational sort of video. What I can say about all the videos is that they all reflect very good planning and sort of integrating different techniques into their teaching. I would say they all had a professional demeanor, and what I notice is when you're not like doing baby talk or condescending to kids, that's something that I really key in on, and when you're not doing that, that's a good thing. And in most of the examples, like I mentioned, the teacher navigates the room and interacts with individuals and groups. There were several examples of formative assessment. Getting Mr. Hester has a getting to know you sort of thing where he asks students what they already know about him. And the DLL group has a portion in there that's about active listening and getting students to participate up front. And the Writers Boot Camp she does a really good job of reviewing previous content and sort of cueing the kids about to catch them up basically on previous content. So the first video, we'll take a look at Mr. Hester, and then we'll go on to the rest of them.
Hi, Luis. Good to see you. Luis, sit at seat 7 and silently start your survey. Hi. Good to see you. Sit at seat 18, right behind Christina. 7. Young man, what's your name? Giovanni? Giovanni, come back. Hi. Good to see you, Aureli. Aureli, I want you to sit at seat 15. It's got the 15 on the back of it, and here's your survey. Giovanni, I know you were probably talking about your seat, but you can't even whisper about that. So that's your verbal warning, okay? Go to your seat and silently start your work. Period 3, it is great to see you. I need about 3.5 more minutes of silent work on this survey. So in total silence, keep filling out this survey. You can see the amount of time left right up here. Go ahead and work on the front and back of the survey.
Yeah, so there are plenty of other examples, Mr. Hester, and what he has on his web page, he has some very good advice, and I thought I would read that about for new teachers, basically. His advice is to love your students, assume the best, praise what and when you can, and do sweat the small stuff. Identify yourself. That's the idea of introducing yourself, about your personal background and that kind of stuff. Forge a class identity and have a plan. So we'll go on to the next one. All right, so this next example is a teacher who is trying to facilitate warm and cold feedback and teaching students sort of that process of giving feedback.
You have your Siddhartha essays already on your desk, and you have the yellow warm and cool feedback sheet. Before this lesson, students completed reading Hermann Hesse's novel Siddhartha. Now they're writing an explanatory essay analyzing Siddhartha and his identity as they are shaped by his values and beliefs. Students have a few things in front of them. They have their essay for Siddhartha in front of them that they have already written. They have the warm and cool feedback sheet that says explicitly, step by step, what they need to be doing. And they also have the 6 traits of effective writing rubric in front of them. Step 1. You need to think back to those goals that we made last week, the writing goals. The students remember what their goals are, and they write their goals onto the warm and cool feedback sheet so that their partners are very much aware of what to look for in the revisions.
Yeah, and so she's got 4 other steps in this process: sharing and warm feedback, and then the cool feedback, which is kind of tricky because it has to do with basically trying to couch negative feedback so that it's received in a positive manner. And basically you're trying to draw out the writer's sensibilities and allowing the writer to correct themselves and to grow on their own. And there's another example that I'll show here in a second about the student's effective coaching.
In terms of the 6 traits, make goals in terms of the 6 traits, and speak with other teachers about writing in a way that shows that they understand the elements of effective writing.
So you can say, like, were you engaging and sincere in your writing?
Excellent. And then ask her the follow-up, how do you know? So that then she knows to go back and do her revisions and what. Excellent.
Got it. Thank you.
So this next video is a teacher who uses video to help her students with presentations.
Take the whole group and film it. There was something about that. And then I started moving with the camera and actually zooming in to the students and looking at their facial expressions. It's almost like taking a psychoanalytic approach to even just looking at the footage. So now you get to really use video footage to help a student improve on presentation in ways that are just very individual, very powerful. It's the nuances of their style that you're looking at. But for a teacher, I get this, like, I just get to look at them and focus.
Yeah, and she goes on to talk about using the video after class, and it also, she emphasizes that this is helpful for ELL students too. So this next video, this teacher, it was an ELL class, and they're going over the idea of academic discussions. And I thought this was a really good example of several things. She kind of takes apart the components of an academic discussion and teaches sort of the rudimentary aspects of like active listening. And she really has an authentic energy about her, and she also uses something called the talking rock for group discussions, which each student, when they hold the rock, they basically have the floor. and she uses an exit ticket, and that basically she focuses a lot on the student evaluating themselves, and also focusing on others' contribution, which I thought was really valuable.
Thank you everyone who came in quietly and get started on the do now right away. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Good afternoon, Miss Groves. Thank you. My name is Tamika Groves, and I teach an ELD class at Westlake Middle School. It's a class with students who are developing and learning English as their second language. Can I have a volunteer to read the directions for today's do now? Let's hear from Julia.
Review the following expectations from the discussions quiz checklist. Highlight areas where you can improve your participation in today's academic discussion.
Well read, thank you. When students come in,
So this next example is the Writers Boot Camp. This is the one that's younger grade, I believe they're 5th grade. The teacher modeled her thinking process for the I think it's in the area of supporting an argument, making a claim and supporting it with evidence. And so the teacher modeled her own thinking process, and I thought there were some good examples in there.
We've done it in a few days because of our field trip yesterday. We took a break, and a lot of us are very excited to share our ideas. Remember, we said that we are in the developing stage, which means we are trying to choose one idea that we're going to run with, and we're going to develop it. And the last time that we did writing workshop, what did I have you do? What did we do together in writing workshop?
We came up with ideas.
How?
By thinking of a person, a place, or a hobby.
Great. So who is the person that I thought of? Thumbs up. My sister. And I used what to come up with ideas about my sister, Jenny?
You use a T-chart.
A T-chart. That was one of the strategies. And prompts.
So yeah, she reviews what they went over before, and basically gets the students up to speed on where they're going today. So there's another example where she basically outlines her thinking process and gets the students cued to basically structure their thoughts in relation to writing.
Just think. Don't open your notebooks. Because first you're gonna watch me do this, and then you're gonna have an opportunity with your partners to do it. Okay? So I'm just gonna move this chart. I also wanna remind you of the first few days of writing workshop for essay. We did a boot camp. And we used something called boxes and bullets to organize our, what's this? And what are these? So we already knew, you guys told me this from 4th grade, what you knew, that you always have a claim, you always have 3 reasons, and in your reasons you have evidence, which is consisting of, raise your hand, Jasmine.
Short stories.
Little stories. So everyone is going to follow the same structure, except your ideas are going to be different. All right? So I'm going to teach this.
So she also talks about the idea of writing long, which is basically, as I understand it, it's not simply annotating a book that you're reading about or sources that you're trying to dig up for a paper, but writing long is sort of giving your impressions or expanding on the information that's actually there, so that the purpose of it, in my mind, would be to basically you can use some of the impressions and expansions in an actual written project, as long as they're your ideas. So this last example, well, no, second to last example, is about a teacher that's teaching the book Hunger Games, and it has some good material in here about using the perspective of, say, a TV producer to create a reality like TV show about the Hunger Games, modeling basically how the Hunger Games is set up.
10th grade English class was about digging into the Hunger Games from the perspective of a reality TV show producer.
We're going to show opposite sides of people and how people are betraying each other.
Which is not only a theme in the Hunger Games, but it's also a great way to kind of construct an opportunity for students to think about details in the text, applying them to concepts that we've been using to talk about the text, and then to think about how stories are manipulated and constructed. There we go.
Yeah, so this last video that I saw, the teacher talks about reading your writing like it's gold and listening to yours and your classmates' writing, basically honoring the other person by honoring their writing and seeing it as valuable enough to give feedback on and that type of thing.
And they talked about how words can do that. If you really listen to words, then words can be so powerful that they can create something as important as a birthday party or a nation. I mean, what is it that we celebrate on July 4th with the firecrackers and the parades, except for a time when people went in a very little room and they put words on the page. And out of those words came America. So if I have two things to tell you today, it's that if you're going to be kids who honor your own writing and your classmates' writing, then you need to read your writing like it's gold. And you need to listen to your classmates' writing, to listen to your own writing, to listen to your writing and let it make the world of difference. Because writing can do that. Writing can change the world. It can change your world, the world in your classroom. It can make the world of your classroom into a place where you hear each other's stories, you understand each other's ideas, you care about each other's passions, you join together in each other's causes. And what a world that will be.
Yeah, I really like this this video. I think it gets at the heart of what I think about, and that is trying to get students motivated, get them to see within themselves and to draw upon energy that comes from that. So overall, I got a lot out of this planning, these planning activities, and it really taught me to maybe cut things down to size a little more. I think I've got my lessons sort of morphed, and I talked about this in class, where I need to trim things down, and I suppose that's better than not having enough, but there's a lot of work that goes into to revising things. So I think one thing I need to do is analyze the standards a little more closely. As I get into student teaching, I'll be doing that, and you know, so let the information and the planning flow out of the standard, because I think what I did in some of my lessons is I went off on tangents, and you know, they were lessons that still supported the standard, but it was probably off a little bit from as far as maybe too much information. But overall, I got a lot out of these lessons and these activities, and look forward to implementing this in real life. Thank you.